Welcome to Q&A Mondays here at MHNews. I'm your host, Matt Haslam. Now, if you'd like your question read on the show, please email them to questions@mhnews.info. Now, for the spring, summer, and fall months, we're going to be going back to 2 episodes a week, and I know some of you are going to be asking about that, so here's why. Over the next couple of months, we're going to be doing a lot of projects on the road, on location, for different client work, as well as our own work on the road, and we're going to be taking you along on location for the Thursday episodes, so we don't want to have 5 episodes a week and have the quality of those episodes suffer as a result. So we're going to be doing 2 episodes a week. Every Monday we're going to be doing Q&A episodes, and every Thursday how-to and behind-the-scenes type thing, main topic episode on Thursdays. So check for that, and please keep with us here. I know we were doing 5 episodes a week, which was kind of a busy schedule for us, and we're cutting it back to make sure we can have the time to go on the road and go on location and take you guys with us, and with all of our camera gear and stuff like that, see behind the scenes, and that's going to be really cool for us to do, and I hope really cool for you guys as well. First question today comes from Vessel Sebastian Egan. Final Cut or Premiere? Well, actually, back in college, I had the pleasure of working with Final Cut Pro 10. I believe it was 10, maybe 9, but Final Cut still. And nowadays, we have Adobe Premiere and After Effects in our computer systems. Maybe like a month ago or so, I was asking a group of people, Final Cut or Premiere. Is there a good place to find Final Cut for Windows computers? Because I don't know if you're aware of this, but Final Cut Pro 10 at least is only good for Mac computers, and they don't have a version that's safe for Windows computers. And so basically, if you have a Windows computer, then you're limited to Adobe Premiere. You can as well go with Magic's Video Pro, which is what we have on our systems as well, or another one. Sony Vegas, I hear, is pretty good. There's a bunch of different programs out there for whatever computer you have, but Final Cut and Premiere are the top #1 in the entire industry, and they're the most commonly used. If you have a Mac computer, I've heard of a lot of people that have different opinions than I do on it, but if you have a Mac computer, they say, well, they went with Final Cut for a while, they don't like it, and they've switched to Adobe now. But looking at what they both offer, once you get going with them, I think initially Final Cut is a little bit easier to learn. Premiere is a little bit harder to learn initially, but once you get going with both of them, they're just both as equal in how easy they are to use. They're both equal in the amount of effects that you can have. They're both pretty much equal as far as program goes. The price point of them, Final Cut is about $300 for a one-time only fee. And again, it's only for Mac computers. Adobe Premiere is at least $240. I know you can get Adobe Premiere version 13, not 13.2 version, which is a new version of it. You can get 13 version for $82, a one-time fee, which is exactly what I'm doing, and exactly what I did now. So you can do that. But normally Adobe Premiere with After Effects is about $600 a year, so it's double the price per year for Adobe Premiere. So it's way more expensive. So you have to look at what your budget is, you have to look at what computer you have, and what's best for you. They're both about equal as far as I'm concerned in how easy they are to use and what effects you can have. So if you have a Mac computer, highly suggest Final Cut. If you have a Windows, you have to go with Adobe Premiere. Next question, how to shoot a scene with a dead body, like in a crime scene? Well, do as they do in every crime show you watch on TV. They just have an actor sitting there on a table or something like that, a morgue table, and a bunch of fake blood. That's how they do it. Simple as that. They just have an extra come in and lay down. Pretty much it. You can do a bunch of different things. If you don't have access to actors, you can have a crash test dummy or something like that for a day, and just basically you don't need to rent, well, you need to rent it, but you can explain to the people you're renting it from that you're not going to be crashing it, you're just going to be using it as a prop, so that's all. So it's a little bit easier. But you can also make how they died, somebody smashed their face in. That way you don't have to show their face too much, because that's a dead giveaway that it's a dummy and it's just a prop. So you want to keep away from that. Choose camera angles that don't allow you to see the face too much. Just be careful in your editing. Next question. As a film director, as a filmmaker, what do you think directors should focus on more? The script or the actual filmmaking itself? I say leave the script to the script writers and the actors. For me as a director, the script writers are trying to write the script for everybody. And if they write a good script, that your film's going to be great. But if basically the actors decide to go off script a little bit, I really don't care. It's my personal preference, though. But I don't care if they go a little bit off script, because at the end of the day, if they go a little bit off script, they're in the mindset of the character. And so I don't want them going so off script that they're doing a full monologue or something like that. That is completely not on script. But if they decide to replace a couple words here and there, I really can care less, as long as they do it consistently through that scene. Different camera angles that we choose. If we're shooting the scene 3 different times from 3 different angles, as long as they do it consistently the same, I'm fine with it. But if they're in the zone of that character, I'm not going to stop them from changing a couple lines here and there, because it's going to make the whole thing a lot better. Because you got to remember, your writers are trying to write for everybody. Your actors are in the mindset of that one character. That's all they have to worry about. So they can do whatever, they can get in the mindset a little bit more and really feel what the character's going to be saying and how the character's going to say it. So I don't mind that. As a director, though, I concentrate on the filmmaking, because at the end of the day, I need to do my part, Basically, I'm not going to concentrate on a script, because, first off, I'll have somebody there to make sure we're keeping sort of to the script. Secondly, it's the writer's job and the characters and the actor's job to make sure they're keeping sort of to script, and they're doing that well. It's really my job to make sure the film is getting made well, so I need to do my part too. If they're completely on script and I'm concentrating on them, and the cinematography or the sound or something like that sucks, that's on me as a director. So I want to do my part to make sure that the film is going to be made very well. So I concentrate on the filmmaking itself, because at the end of the day, you're writing the script 3 times. The writers are writing it, you're writing it in actual production, and you're writing it in editing. So, you need to concentrate on the actual filmmaking as a director. Next question. I'm editing someone else's project, and the drive isn't 100% organized. I also wasn't there for any of the filmmaking, so I'm not sure what I'm working with. On top of that, the guy isn't available to me to ask questions while I'm editing. Any ideas on how to edit this beast? Well, the best suggestion I have for you is to just sit down, look through all of your footage that you have. I know it's going to take you a while to look through it all, but at the end of the day, sorry Charlie, that's what it has to be. Basically, when you're on production, you need to organize your files. You need to write down, this is the file number that we're entering in the computer, and this is what that file is of. This is scene A, take 1, or whatever. You need to label every single thing. If you're not labeling, expect a big bill in editing, because the editors are going to have to look through all of that footage and write down for you and do your job for you what all those scenes of, so they can edit well. As an editor, you cannot go editing before you know what you're working with, so you need to look through all of your footage before you go editing anything. So I highly encourage that. I know it's going to take a while, but explain to your customer that they didn't give you an organized list of things, so you needed to take the time to look through it all. Explain to them that, and if they get billed for a lot of time, sorry Charlie. It was their job to label it, and if they didn't do that, well then, it's now your job to do it. So just go through it all and bill for your time. That's my best suggestion. But once you're done looking through it all and labeling everything, then go through and start editing. Don't try to start editing before you know what you're working with. Next question. How much storage space would you consider to be enough for an independent feature? Approximately 90 minutes. Also, how do you categorize, organize your hard drives when shooting? First part of that question I'm going to go with right now. 90-minute feature, normally on a feature film, you're talking probably, like 5-6 minutes for every single minute that footage you actually end up using. So I would say just plan on at least 10 hours footage. What I typically do to figure out how much space I need on my hard drives is I'll find a clip of video, like at the same resolution. So if I'm shooting a 1920 by 1080 or something like that resolution, and at 30 frames per second or something like that, I'll find that same resolution and frame rate somewhere else on my hard drive, and I'll find a 1-minute clip of it. It's important that it's exactly 1 minute. And then I'll multiply that by 60, which is an hour, and then I'll multiply that by however many hours I think I'm going to end up using. So for a 90-minute feature, probably at least 10 hours of footage. So, I'll multiply that by 10, and that's how much space I'm going to need on my hard drives. And if I need to, I'm going to buy another hard drive. That's basically, in the very beginning of a project, I'll normally do that. That way I know, whether or not I need to build a customer for another hard drive. Because if their project is going to take, some of the projects I've worked on take an entire hard drive up by themselves, like a 4 or 5 terabyte hard drive. So I don't want to have that out of my pocket. So I want to make sure I'm billing for that up front, and I'm quoting that. That way the customer understands you're going to have a lot of footage from this, so somehow I need to keep all that footage and edit with it. So they typically understand, and just make sure you're doing that. And a lot of times what you're going to end up doing for a lot of smaller projects, I would suggest just having a hard drive or two empty all the time, and just using for temporary files that you're using. So, maybe have a 4 terabyte hard drive off to the side that you don't use for your normal stuff, but for the temporary stuff that you get this kind of thing for, just store it in there once you're done with the project and it's fully edited and you're fully happy with it. Maybe wait a couple weeks just to make sure you're happy with it and then watch it again. But if you're completely happy with it, then get rid of the files. Because in the end, your demo reel is going to be made up of stuff from the actual final cut of it. You're not going to choose other scenes that were never mentioned. Once you do the behind the scenes stuff as well, you're not going to have the need for more footage from the project. So second part of that question is, how do you categorize, organize your hard drives when shooting? We've already explained this in a previous episode rather than going on and on in this episode about it. I'm going to link in the description below to an episode we did on how to store your video files, how to store your footage. So check that episode out. It goes in a lot more detail, and it's a fantastic episode that we did a while back now, and it really will help you out a lot, I think. But before we go today, there is a story from Arkansas that we wanted to cover a little bit here today. Arkansas passed a privacy bill that could kill straight photography. Basically, this is a bill that Arkansas did pass that requires, if you're on any street in Arkansas, it requires you to get written permission from everyone in your shot, including those that are not facing you. So if you're getting a picture of their back, you need to get their permission to use their likeness. And no matter what you're trying to use that photo for, whether it's advertising, whether it's just, personal use, you need to get their written permission and a signature, which is crazy. And furthermore from this, if we're going to link to the Petapixel blog post on this, the story that Petapixel did on this, we're going to link to that in the description. But we're also going to link to the actual bill that was passed, which is at arkansas.state.ar.us. So we're going to link to that as well. But if you read the actual bill, it reads so that basically if you're anywhere else in the United States and you post a photo and it's accessible to people in Arkansas, you need written permission as well. and that's just not going to happen. Sorry, Charlie. But just be aware of that, and basically, the way privacy goes anymore, just if you're doing street photography or, videography, just be sure to maybe ask a little bit of people. Typically, I have a big rig when I go out and shooting and stuff like that, so people know I'm videotaping, people know I'm there. But, if you just hide your camera, you might get into a little bit of trouble if you get caught or something like that. But typically, I have a big rig, so I don't have to worry about that. But when you're shooting, if you see somebody, especially children or something like that, and you're going to be posting that photo out there, maybe ask the parent or something like that. Say, hey, I'm just taking photos. I might have gotten your child in the shot. Do you mind? And that typically is okay. But just be aware of it and be safe with your video and your photography. So that's our questions for today. If you'd like a question read on the show, please send them into questions@mhnews.info, and check out our episodes every Monday and Thursday from now on. Have a good one, people, and see us next time. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to our channel for new episodes airing every Monday through Thursday. Have a good one.